All right, so for a kind of basic Tai Yang breakdown, I usually start off with some gentle rocking. So I've just got one hand on. Are you going to watch or are you going to lay down?
I thought you were demoing. I don't know.
I am demoing, but people want to kind of move with me, I guess. So.
I'm sorry. I'm in my own little world, obviously.
Remember during this little rocking session here that we're just kind of paying attention to where there's movement, where there's not. It's a good chance to remind yourself to be pushing with your back leg and moving your whole body gently forward and back. It's also a good time to check in. Are your shoulders down? Are your elbows hanging? Your hands relaxed? As much contact as possible with their body across the palm of your hands. I like to kind of transition smoothly, so I'm going to switch my top hand to a roll where my left hand or bottom hand is still rocking, and I get a gentle roll going, and then I can match that with my second hand. Try to keep that tempo about the same. We're just going to walk down the spine gently, overlapping our strokes quite a bit, so we're not moving a ton with each stroke. When we run into the sacrum, we're just going to follow that line down that lateral border, down towards the ischial tuberosity, out towards the greater trochanter, up through glute minimus and medius, back into the sacrum, and we'll cut through the center of our circle. Then we get to transition to grasping when we hit the leg. Focusing on the lateral surface, you can either do two-handed grasping with the same front to back rock. So I'm just hitting the knee, working the lateral aspect of the gastroc, lateral head, and peroneals. When you run into the ankle, we're just going to squeeze. They call it biting, but we're just squeezing down the blade of the foot and pinching out that pinky toe. Keeping some contact, we'll drag back up to the top. Start some rolling up at the top. Work our way down for pass number 2. Running into the sacrum, we'll go down that lateral border, down the ischial tuberosity, out to the greater trochanter, up through the glutes, cutting through that circle towards the leg. Then we're going to switch to our grasping on the leg. You can do two-handed still. I'm going to demo both, so I'm doing the alternating. But I'm working the midline of the posterior leg, grasping down the middle of the calf, get to the heel, pinch or bite down that blade, and drag back up to the top. Rolling for the final pass of this. Down the lateral border of the sacrum again, down the sacrotuberous ligament and out towards that greater trochanter, up and around. Make our little Q through the center. And the final pass of grasping is on the medial aspect of the hamstrings and calf. Again, you can do two hands or alternating, whichever feels good. We're trying to keep the tempo kind of similar through all these strokes. And then biting down the heel and out the foot. Coming back up. We're going to start at the top with alternating pushes. I'm going to work the far side. You can work either, whichever is more comfortable, far side or same side. So passing through the mid-thoracic. Again, overlapping my strokes. When I hit the sacrum, if I'm on the far side, I cut across and push down the lateral border of the sacrum and then switch to my grasping on the leg. If you're on the same side, then you say what? Same leg. So I cut across through the pelvis there, yeah. No worries. If you did the same side of the spine, then you just come down the same side. But if you do the far side, you got to cut across. Keep our grasping going. Your first pass is going to be that lateral aspect of the leg again. When we come back up, we'll start our second pass here. Just gentle pushing. Run into the sacrum, come across the sacrum, back down to the same side leg, but now we're going to go right down the midline of the leg. Passing the knee, gentle grasp the whole calf, and bite down all the way out the foot. Not with your actual teeth, just with your finger. Final pass of our pushing here. Cross on the sacrum when you hit that. Down to the leg. Grasping the medial aspect of the leg. Biting down the foot. Coming back up to the top. Now we get to switch sides. We're going to be starting with our rolling at the top of the torso. Just working our way down the left side of their body. Same side of her spine, yeah. When you hit the sacrum, we'll go diagonally or down the lateral border, I should say. Out to the ischial tuberosity, greater trochanter, circling around, and through the center back down to the leg. Then switching to grasping. This can be two-handed or one-handed, whichever is more comfortable for you, but focusing on the lateral aspect of the leg. When we get to the heel, bite our way down and carry ourselves back up to the top. Starting back with rolling. Getting to the sacrum, we're going to go down that lateral border, over to the ischial tuberosity, and out to the greater trochanter, back up through the glute minimus and medius, and through the center, down to the leg. Switching to the grasping again, down the midline of this left leg, or right, depending on which side of the table you're on. When we get to the heel, bite our way down the foot and carry ourselves back up again. Pass number 3. Rolling down the back. Down the lateral border of the sacrum. Out towards the ischial tuberosity and then the greater trochanter. Up and through the glutes, cutting across, switching to grasping when we hit the leg, focusing on the medial aspect of the posterior leg, working on the medial head of the gastroc. When we hit the heel, we bite back down and drag ourselves back to the top. Starting off with our pushing away. I like the far side, but it's up to you. Overlapping our strokes. When we get to the base of the spine and the sacrum, I cut across to the same side hip and then switch to grasping in the leg. Focusing on the outside. Yep, so we do outside, then middle, and then inside. With our 3 passes. Biting down the foot. Dragging back up to the top. Pass number 2. hitting the sacrum, crossing over the spine, grasping the midline of the leg and the midline of the gastroc, calf, hitting the heel, biting down the foot, and dragging back up to the top, pushing away for pass number 3. Hitting the sacrum, crossing over if you did far side, and switching to grasping on the leg, hitting that medial aspect through the hamstrings, crossing the knee, medial gastroc, and biting down the foot. At this point, most people are kind of broken down. If they're not, we'll come to the head of the table and just do a little cat's paw on the upper thorax. Walk down to maybe the middle, about T8 or T9 max. I walk back and forth up and down that upper thoracic just a couple times. And then at the end, either of a Tai Yang breakdown or of a full session, if you went on to spend an hour of time working on them, we always like to do wiping down or brushing, starting at the top. Lots of contact with the forearm. Drag back to the top. We're working down the body. They love the number 3, so they tend to do 3 sets. Or 3 passes, as we call them. Come to the far side of the table and knock out 3 passes of wiping. If you have a lift table, this is one of the techniques you would raise the table up for, most likely. So you're not bending over so much.
That can just feel fun.
It takes a while to get comfortable with that non-dominant hand, for sure. The Tai Yang is the icebreaker, making them comfortable and relaxed. And it's your chance to examine the body from top to bottom, looking for areas that need attention.